Saxon Math, Course 2. We are on page 296, and we're going to be dealing with a couple of unique things that should be pushing us a little more towards the algebraic language. First one deals with formulas, and the second thing is dealing with distributive property. So let's start with formulas first, okay? Basically, a formula is a statement with letters. And capital A, an L, and a W really means area equals length times width. Hence the A and the L and the W. Okay? So if my length is 8 feet and my width is 4 feet, what are these two terms doing? L and W next to each other is literally being multiplied. So area equals length times width. Well, length is 8 feet times 4 feet. Well, what does that equal? Should equal 32. Alright, and so 32 what? Well, we said that it was feet, and because we're multiplying feet here and feet here, there's 2 feet, so it's feet squared. Okay? So all we're doing is using letters up here in the formula and inserting our numbers to get our answer. All right, let's try something else. Let's do number 2, example 2, where it says 2 times L plus W. And that's going to be the same thing. We're going to have 8 centimeters and 4 centimeters. But notice this, if L equals 8 and W equals 4, what we're saying is 2 times L, which is 8, plus 4. Alright, how do we do? Well, first of all, we're going to do what's inside the parentheses first. So what's 8 plus 4? That's 12. So 2 times 12 equals 24 centimeters. So again, we're using a formula, putting our numbers in, multiplying it out, and we get our answer. Okay? Alright, these aren't too difficult. Let's look at example 3. It says use the two perimeter formulas to find the perimeter of this rectangle. Alright, perimeter formula, you'll see just above that on page 297, halfway down. P equals, and then 2 times length plus width. Let me explain what that means. Okay, if I'm looking for the perimeter, I need each one of these sides added up. Well, what's the length? The length is the longest part. The width is the shortest part. So 2 times L. Why? Because we have 2 of them. 2 times W. Why? Because we have 4 of them. Okay, so we could also do the same, it's the same formula but just a different look to it. So perimeter equals 2 length plus 2 width. So 2 times length and 2 times width. It's the same thing. It gives us unique numbers here in example 3. So we've got 2 numbers. One is a 30-inch and one is a 20-inch. Okay, so we also know that this is 20 and this is 30, but using these formulas, we can say 2 times 30 plus 20, or we could say perimeter equals 2 times 30 plus 2 times 20, because this is length and this is width. Okay, so either way we solve this, it's going to come out to the same number. We should get 100 here, and we should get 100 here. And again, those examples, 2 times 30 is 60, 2 times 4 is 40, and we've got 60 and 40, and we see that both are exactly 100. So not too hard here when we see this. Now, I'm going to teach you something called distributive property, because this is what happens in example 4. So now we're going to just forget the perimeter and area formulas. We're just going to work on something called distributive property. And here's what I would like to show you. When you see a problem like this, what this means is we can add what's in the middle, or we can do this. Algebra will teach us that we're going to multiply this 6, and it applies to both of them. So 6 times 20, okay, is 120. 6 times 5 is 30. So really it's 150 as a total. Or we could do 6 times 20 plus 5. So what is 20 plus 5? Well, it's 25. 25 times 6, still come up with the same answer. So you can add what's here first, which I did here, and then multiply by 6 to come up with our 150, or 6 times 20 plus 6 times 5 and come up with it this way. This is what's called distributive property. I'm going to shorten it with DP. This is kind of like what we did with arithmetic. We did what was inside, we added, and then we multiplied. Okay? Distributive property over here on this side is basically another section in how we're going to use algebra. Okay? And we want to use this more than we use this. Okay? And the reason is because later on we're going to have problems that will require distributive property rather than this whole scenario. This is kind of like elementary, right? It's kind of like the first step. Algebra is like the new and upcoming, hey, this is what we're heading for. So I want you to start using distributive properties, okay? And you should be able to see this without too much of a problem here. Last one, example 5. I'll show you this one. Okay, so we have 3 plus n in the parentheses plus 4. All right, so we're going to use distributive property. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 times n is 2n plus 4. It doesn't seem like we can solve that. Well, yeah, we can. We can combine the 6 and the 4 because they're the same thing. So 2n plus 10. Can we do anything with this n? No, because there's no equal sign in this whole equation. So the answer is 2n plus 10. That's all we can do as far as this is concerned. Okay, so we have solved the problem. So sometimes in algebra we don't get an answer like with an equal sign. Sometimes in algebra we just simply simplify a problem, and this is what this is called, simplify. And you'll notice that in algebra we will do this a lot, and sometimes we'll do it and take a formula and simplify the formula so that we can come up with a possible answer. So anyway, maybe a little more information than you want, but distributive property and formulas, both are the examples that we have for today. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.